Well, there's been yet another shocking incident involving a plane. This happened just today. This time it was at Chicago's Midway Airport.
And it involved the Southwest Airlines jet coming in for a landing, and it was caught on camera. The jet was just about to touch down, and the pilot had to abort and climb dramatically because a private jet crossed the runway right in front of it. The Federal Aviation Administration issued a statement afterwards saying that private plane entered the runway without authorization. Of course, this is just the latest investigation to be launched into scary incidents involving planes in the last several weeks.
There are still unanswered questions about the collision of an American Airlines plane and an Army Black Hawk helicopter in Washington, D.C. on January 29th. That plane was preparing to land at the Reagan National Airport when it crashed with the helicopter. None of the 67 people on board those two aircraft survived. And so far, investigators still aren't really sure why this happened. And just over a week later, a Cessna commuter plane was about 10 minutes from arriving home in Alaska when it stopped transmitting its location. That plane crashed. It was found the next day. None of the 10 people on board survived. Coast Guard officials say they know the plane suddenly lost elevation and speed, but again, they don't know why. And then on the 17th, the Delta Airlines plane was landing at the Toronto airport when it skidded on the runway in flames, flipped over, leaving passengers hanging upside down for a time. Everybody survived in this incident, but again, investigators are still unsure why it happened.
And we didn't even mention the medical plane that crashed in a Philadelphia neighborhood either. So with seemingly so many crashes and near misses, there is something to worry about, and a lot of people are concerned.
So many questions. I mean, fielding phone calls of people wanting to know what's going on. So we're going to try to get some of those questions answered for you today. Are we really seeing more problems than we have in years past? And to answer some of those questions, we're bringing in our 9 News aviation expert, Greg Feith, to join us now. Greg, what do you think? What are we seeing? We talked about this a little bit in the break because we have so many questions. Is this mainly human error? Or is this technological, mechanical issues? What is the crux of this?
Right now, it looks to be operational, human error. The question is why? Because there are multiple pieces when you look at how an aircraft is operated, whether it's commercial or private, because the system has to work. You have air traffic controllers, you have maintenance, you have pilots, you have pilot training. And in this particular instance with the midair, now you have to add in the military. There's been a lot of controversy about what's going on in the Potomac with the midair. I grew up there, and they've been flying helicopters up and down the Potomac River for 70 years. This is the first time they've ever had a midair collision involving military and civilian going into Reagan National. It's about the airspace, and so it's about hypervigilance with pilots and pilot training. And given the fact that we've had a pilot shortage since COVID, now we're trying to keep the iron moving, as we say in the industry, and put pilots into position so that the airlines can keep moving.
And what about people who might be getting on a flight later today? Should people be concerned while flying? And are the recent cuts to the FAA any concern to you? Is this in any way involved?
Well, the first part, when you look at the fear of flying, which is generated because, of course, every time you turn on the TV, there appears to be something new, especially like today with this near miss. The fact is that we are seeing a lot of these events take place, but they are always taking place. Not to the level of, oh my gosh, I shouldn't get on an airplane. But you do have these issues. We have better than 47,000 operations in a 24-hour period just here in the United States. The rest of the world is running about 50 to 60,000.
Wow.
So, I mean, when you look at how many aircraft are in the air at any one time over the United States and how safe our system is, the fact that what happened today with the Southwest Airlines aircraft, that crew is trained. You have to be vigilant as a pilot. You have to understand, or it's called situational awareness. I want to know, is there an airplane down on the ground? Are they cleared to cross? Maybe they will stop, maybe they won't. You always have to assume the worst. And in this case, the crew saw that that airplane wasn't going to stop. They performed as they were trained, power up, pull up, and go around. The fact is that because the news media is showing it all the time, because it is newsworthy, that's what instills the fear of flying. But I'll tell you, it scares me more to drive on the highway just coming down to the studio or to the airport than what's going on in the air.
Well, let me ask you, because remember we interviewed the night that the Black Hawk accident happened over the Potomac,
Yes.
and the question I think we posed then was, do you feel like there's going to be more protocols put in place, more training? So ultimately, mistakes like this make the aviation industry safer, but then we keep seeing things in the news every single day. So it's like
Sure.
you want to believe things are getting safer, but are they really?
That's a very good question, because you can't look at all of these accidents and incidents and lump them all together and come up with a generic, here's the fix-all.
Yep.
Because every one of them is individualistic. So you have a military aircraft. They are the most disciplined pilots out there. And the fact is that they were 200 feet or 150 feet off their altitude. The question is why? Was it because of an operational error? Was it because of a mechanical error? Right now they're looking at the altimeters. So if the pilots have bad information, they now are at a bad altitude. When you look at what happened with the medical aircraft that you were talking about, it happened real quick. From the time of the last communication to the time the aircraft impacted, something incapacitated both pilots, because that's a two-pilot aircraft. What could it be? The only thing contained in the airplane is the oxygen system, because it's a medical aircraft. Did they have a flash fire? Did it incapacitate the crew and the crew lost control? Now you go to Canada or to Alaska. That's an icing event because the aircraft is flying in bad weather. So when you look at the common denominator, there aren't any.
Right.
It's each individualistic. Now, is there a common thread? Yeah, you can't regulate because you'll overregulate. And of course, we all know you overregulate, you'll create more problems. And it then becomes catch me if you can. And that's the last thing we want in aviation.
Okay, well, I think that's a good explanation because it's easy for us just to lump it like we did at the beginning of this,
Sure.
this segment. We just lumped it all together, but when you look at it separately,
Right.
it makes me feel a little bit
Yeah.
easier.
And coming from the aviation expert saying he's more nervous driving here than getting on an airplane, that gives me a little bit of a peace of mind.
The
So thank
system
you.
is the safest it's ever been, even though, yes, we've had these accidents, but when you look at it in the big picture, if you will, it is the safest way to go. I mean, as far as travel is concerned. And people that are coming into travel season, especially summer,
Yep.
it's always nice to be concerned. They have to have patience when they go to the airport, especially weather delays and that kind of stuff, but they should not have a fear of flying.
Okay, well, that calmed me down.
too.
I'm getting on a plane in 5 days, and I'm going to clip this
You'll be
segment
okay.
and send it to a lot of people because I've been getting phone calls, Greg. Thank you.
Great, if you call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, I know that I'm in trouble, so.
Thank you, Greg.